Code. It doesn't look like much, just a bunch of numbers and letters, weird symbols. Some kind of cyber language that only a machine and its architect could understand.
It's quite beautiful when you look at it from back here. You can see the detail, the intellectual design, the big picture.
All life is made from some form of code, a language to communicate thought into reality.
And it forms into what makes up our story, how it begins and how it ends. From up here, we're outside of time.
It's the code that holds the key to time. But where's the hack? And who could ever hack such a code? The key to the code of ancient Egypt, a civilization spanning nearly 3,000 years, had been outlawed as mysterious pagan language by early Christians.
So like the tombs of the pharaohs, the stories from within the code would fade into history, buried in layers, preserved only by time.
But it would take a genius hacker to decipher the meaning and bring back the pharaohs to the world of the living.
Then, in 1799, quite by accident, some French soldiers who were rebuilding a fort in a small Egyptian village in the Delta dug up the hacker's manual set in stone. It was called the Rosetta Stone, carved in 196 BC in 3 languages: Greek, Demotic, which was the common script of Egypt, and then ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, the forgotten language of the pharaohs. The Rosetta Stone would be the key in unlocking the world's most ancient language, revealing the secrets held in the sands of the past, which up until this point were uncrackable.
Jean-Francois Champollion had been gifted with languages from a very young age, but his obsession with unlocking the secrets of time led to the incredible cracking of the hieroglyphs. But it would take time, persistence and frustration. Champollion was a French linguist, passionate about ancient languages and fluent in Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, Coptic, Syriac and Chaldean. But the forgotten language of the hieroglyphs were in a realm of their own. In 1822, he finally hacked the code, ran into his brother's office at the Academy of Inscriptions, flung a bundle of papers on his desk and shouted,
Je tiens mon affaire!
And promptly fainted. The password had been hacked through deciphering a cartouche, and now the ancient stories of the past, written on hundreds of temple walls, tombs and palaces, could be revealed.
All across Europe, Egypt became the buzzword. To dig out the buried treasure held in forgotten tombs and unmask the pharaohs themselves became a craze. Many rich European investors funded great expeditions of discovery to would-be treasure hunters and archaeologists seeking their good fortune and acclaim. Howard Carter was a young guy of 17 with a talent for art when he had ventured to Egypt and began working as an artist in the temple of Hatshepsut, copying wall reliefs.
But his real passion was to hunt the tombs of the pharaohs. One lost pharaoh in particular, the Boy King, and Lord Carnarvon would be the one to help him do it.
I was only 8 when they crowned me the morning and evening star of Upper and Lower Egypt. We were in Amarna, a city built in honor of the sun disk Aten. Aten was our new god, enforced on the people by my father, Akhenaten, and his queen, Nefertiti. He was now regarded as a heretic for having done away with the old order of things. For thousands of years, our people had worshipped many gods. Our religion was ingrained into the very fabric of their souls. The great battle between order and chaos reigned supreme.
Osiris was at war with Set, the god of chaos, and was killed. His body dismembered and scattered throughout the land of Egypt. Isis, goddess of motherhood and the throne, collected his body and restored him for long enough to bear him a son, the hawk-headed sky god Horus, who sought out Set to reclaim order. A great battle raged between the offspring of Osiris and the beast-headed god Set. Although defeated, Set gouged out one of Horus's eyes, which could only be restored partly, which is why one eye shines brightly during the day as the sun, and the other is partly sighted during the phases of the moon.
And now I was on the throne, the living incarnation of Horus himself. I had to restore order to my broken people. Upon my throne, I engraved my new name, Tutankhamun, but on the back was my real name, Tutankhaten, after the one true god, Aten. As was with the gods and my ancestors before me, I married my sister to keep the royal blood on the throne and loyalty and love close to hand. We moved back to the original capital of Thebes and returned the gods back to their people. Supremely Amun-Ra, king of the gods. My name also displayed my allegiance and changed from Tutankhaten to Tutankhamun. I ruled for 10 years, planning elaborate buildings, waging wars against the Nubian revolt, and trying to restore order and prosperity back to Egypt under the guidance of my ever-watchful vizier, I had been the vizier to my father and my father's father before him. He played a calculated and methodical game. I had to be extremely sharp in my tactics to beat him at my favorite game, Senate. It was a bit like my reign, full of tactics and maneuvers, each player vying to win. But Set was against me, and my 2 children were taken by Anubis before they even saw the light of day. And I was becoming unsteady on my feet, my clubbed foot in agonizing pain. Walking was beginning to be unbearable. But it was all to end much sooner than I had ever imagined.
Game over. Tut died at the age of 18. But how did he die? That's the mystery. For 3,000 years, his story lay dormant under the sands of time. Now Carter, under his meticulous and progressive methods of systematically dividing the Valley of the Kings into squares and digging right down into the bedrock, was on the verge of throwing open the cold case of the forgotten pharaoh and bringing him back to see the light of day. But he was out of time and money, and his investor, Lord Carnarvon, felt that they had literally reached a dead end. Was Tutankhamun in a tragic accident on the motorways of the sand dunes, speeding in his new 6-spoke chariot?
Did I, who incidentally became the next pharaoh after his death, knock him off the Senate board?
Was it simply just a deadly form of malaria that took his life? Or an epileptic seizure brought on by generations of inbred genetic pooling?
Would they ever find him? Carter was set to leave no stone unturned. Carnarvon and his daughter Evelyn rushed immediately to Egypt to discover if this was the tomb of the illustrious king. Carter wouldn't be able to confirm whose tomb it was until he saw the seals still intact on the tomb door. It would reveal that the tomb was a perfectly preserved time capsule sealed over 3,300 years earlier. He would spend the next 10 years meticulously drawing and recording all of the 5,000 items from the antechamber before coming face to face with the boy king.
My car, my spirit was flying like Horus up to the stargate of Orion's belt. Anubis weighed my heart against a feather and stood guard over my tomb. Now I had safe passage to meet Osiris and live amongst the stars.